Hi everyone, I hope you're well. I hope that your week has also started quite well. Karibuni sana to our series of webinars. We are hosted by YMCA. My name is Kinya Nina Gitonga. Together with my colleague Collins, we will be the moderators of the day. And today we'll do it a little bit different from our usual forums, where we are looking forward to engaging with each and every one of you in today's conversation. We'll be looking at August, where we celebrate youth. As we all know, August 12th, there is International Youth Day. And so we've started these conversations where we're looking at our role as young people when it comes to mental health advocacy, because we normally discuss mental health related issues on Mondays. So today we are looking at our role ama mchango wetu kama youth when it comes to mental health. So do not go mbali sana na mic. Usipotee sana. We'll be engaging you once in a while. It's just a conversation. You can imagine they're your friends whom you're discussing with, that we can also understand the role that we play. If maybe there is something that you know about your role as a young person that I don't know, so that I can also get to learn from you. And if you're not able to unmute, you can also keep the conversation going hapo kwa chat. We'll definitely gain access to the same. So I welcome Collins once more to say hi, and then he will start us off with one question, maybe one area of discussion. But before then, this is YMCA, it's a youth resource center for those who are new. I've seen Helen Mahali. Yeah, it's a youth resource center where we have a lot of conversations going on when it comes to young people, not only on mental health, but also on other spheres to do with sports, business, environment, and much more. So feel at home na umekaribishwa sana. Hi Collins, are you in a position to unmute? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kinya. I hope you can hear me, everyone. It's a pleasure this evening, even as we are going to have a little conversation about what really affects us, especially the youth, even let's say even the Gen Z, as we all know, what has been going around, and we don't take it for granted that we are here. I thank you, everyone, for again tuning in. And I look forward. I'm Collins from the Technical University of Kenya. I'm a mental health advocate. I love the mental health talk. So this evening, I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys and let us share the ideas because sorry, niko na nini kidogo. Just bear with me. So because all of us we know actually makes us what makes us actually is all the way what we think, and that what you think can decide your survival for the day, even for the years of the rest of your life. So all the way inaanzanga from them thinking. So what is this thinking that we're talking about? So this is what we are going to talk about this evening, and feel welcome, feel just free, because hapa ni my youth, and we can be able to help each, even our generation on this. So just what I have here tonight I'll just share, or just to start us off, I'll just ask any of the members or who is listening that I'll just pose a question that we are looking forward to getting points or the views from you guys, and also we can also share with any other person whatever we have. So I'll just pose this first question. Uh, to us, that you is listening, why is it important for a young person or a youth like us or any other young person to be involved in a mental health advocacy? So if you are hearing me, you can just unmute or raise your hand. I'll be able to point or allow you to unmute and share with us why is it important for a youth or a young person to be involved in such a talk on mental health. Anyone, you can just raise and then you'll unmute and then share with us that why is it important for a youth or a young person to get involved in such a talk on mental health? Any other person? Before I share, I also share with you what I have. So I'll just anyone on board, you can raise your hand. Or, I'll go. Any idea? Just thing that you know is just very correct about mental health. So we want to make the sessions, this session be very interactive, because we all know what is mental health, and we know the impact. Thank you very much. I welcome, feel much welcomed so much. Our question, the first point or the first question that we are asking is that why is a youth or a young person, uh, why is it important for a youth to have this conversation issues? It is that we can, if you have any point, I think any point that you have about the mental health issue is very correct. So anyone, you can come on board and share with us. Okay,
Thank you
actually,
so much.
thank you so much. Yes.
So, guys, as you
Okay. So,
mentioned,
guys, as you mentioned,
when we were starting our model today, itakuwa kidogo different. So, on request, if maybe you have an idea, you can just unmute. Imagine these are your friends you're just, talking to and chatting along with, and we are talking about mental health. Karibu Maria and Sam. So we are asking, why are we having this conversation right now? We could have chosen something else to talk about, but we've chosen to talk about mental health. And I believe that you also had several things to do, but you chose to join this conversation because of one thing or the other. So why is it important to us as young people that we talk about mental health? Why are we having, mental health advocates talking about mental health isn't being allocated the right amount of funds, maybe mental health isn't being given the right limelight that it's supposed to be. Why is that so? Yes, Amaya.
yes, I'm okay.
Oh, I think that engaging in these conversations about mental health, it helps create more awareness on mental issues. Since, let's say, if we discuss something and someone is passing through it, they will feel at comfort and they'll feel that it's normal having some of the signs. Yeah.
Thank you, Amaya, for sharing that. That is very true. Amaya has just shared with us about the one of the okay. This is the point we want to let each one and every one of us know that mental health is there, and what is there is that we should learn how to control the mental issues or the mental problems that some of us may be facing. That is very true, Amaya. Thank you very much. And any other presenter will ask, we also introduce yourself or where we are listening us from, so that we can also know. Thank you, Amaya, for telling us or to confirm to us that it is one of the ways that we create awareness on that the issue of mental health exists, and we should learn how to control it. Thank you for that. Any other person? I saw two hands. I saw a hand somewhere. Okay, just to keep the conversation going. I also have a point, Ola, and I can share about mental health. The reason why, as the youths, uh, it's very important for the young people to have this conversation. One is that one of my reason is that it is very important to take part in this very or very vital topics on mental health, because you find that uh, the youths especially, okay, let me talk of the experiences. We've not gone for very many experiences, and like those people who are ahead of us, but there is a time that you'll be going through an experience, and at this time, maybe that time is, you'll say that I wish I knew. I should have not reached this point. That is where the problem of the mental issues start from. Where one you feel like giving up. So one of the issues here is that it prepares us, it makes us aware that it is an issue that exists, and there is something called culture shock. So something like having a culture shock where you say, I wish I knew. So it is very vital that we have such a conversation so that whenever we come through an issue, we'll say that this issue is very normal, and the only solution to this is how, what are the characteristics of this issue, and what are the survival mechanisms I should be engaging. So such talks are very healthy, that we engage. I happen to be a mentor as well. This is just a testimony I want to give. Just during, okay, yesterday I went to Kakamega. We are sharing about mental health and also spreading to them. I just came this day today, and also I do mentor. So there is this student who really came to me and shared with me. Actually, you helped me realize, and I was very happy. Just last week, he came. You helped me realize that the things I was having in my mind, actually they cannot change whatever is in. I'm having something that I'm supposed to achieve, and he was telling me about, after telling him or sharing with him about, it was just a matter of education, that now the fact that you're living with your aunt and there are issues, and you feel that your aunt is mistreating you, and here you want to give up. Why don't you now change the story? Decide for yourself that even though I'm passing through these challenges, they have been there. There are people who have passed through the same. So I should just use this opportunity just to make things better. So my point was that it prepares for us, or makes us aware that the issues are always been there, but we should learn on how to adapt. That was my point. I don't know if anyone has another point. Thank you. If you have okay, it was my point. If you have another point in any other person.
Thank you so much, Collins. I think you've highlighted the essence of us conversing about mental health in regards to gaining resilience whenever we are having difficulties. From the chat box, we have Francis, who mentioned that it's important for us to be involved in these activities so that we can raise awareness. We can also educate ourselves and educate others as a way of advocacy, like what we're doing right now. And also, us as young people talking to each other and one another on matters to do with mental health, we are building a community of support network. Because support network, it doesn't necessarily mean that it should be your family or something. Even people who are just there for you in such difficult times, those are your support networks. And we have Willis Otieno, who thinks that it's important to involve young people in mental health talk, because young people face a lot of challenges and they keep to themselves, which at times we tend to use drugs as means of coping mechanism. And so to my audience, I'll get to ask you once more hapo kwa chat box, do you think drugs is a positive coping mechanism or it's a negative one? We can engage on that. And so he says that mental health conversations will help keep them aware of themselves and also keep their mind alert on making the decisions, which is very, very right. And we have Chebet, who says that she's joining the conversation from Kwale, and she's things on mental things that engaging on these conversations can lead to healthy environment, which is right. What we're doing here, let us keep the conversation going. Be education. We had in regards to this, where we are trying to understand peer, what are their role in mental health advocacy. Agreed that peer-to-peer mentorship is the very best way of reaching out to a huge number of young people, because you can imagine if it's someone way older that you're engaging with, inaweza kuwa difficult hata kuongea, but whenever it's your peer, it's easier for you to talk easily and reach out for assistance. And also, as talking about mental health, we're going to understand it more na pia hizo mauongo, hizo stories za jaba about mental health zinapungua tu. And lastly, as young people also, it will empower us to be able to influence the current policies on mental health issues. Thank you everyone who has given us one or two opinions on the same. And my question, which Francis and Amaya only has contributed, let us keep contributing to that, is, are drugs positive, or are drugs solutions to our mental health issues, or they are not solutions? And so maybe a question that I could have for us is, now that we're looking at this conversation being an avenue of education or educating people when it comes to mental health advocacy, what role does education play in empowering youth? Tuko na role gani, ama education iko na role gani in empowering us when it comes to mental health issues? I want us to go back to a time where you were in primary school, because for me I didn't know mental health issues ni nini until I was way in my high school hapo katikati. That's when I started knowing that kumbe kunaweza kuwa na ka issue hapa na hapa, but enyewe sikuwa naelewa vizuri hata hiyo time what these mental health issues are. So is education a tool in mental health advocacy, or it's not a tool? And now for us who are here and enlightened about these things, how can we further that? And I'll pass it over to Kasuti.
All right, thank you very much, Kenya. So I'll start by answering the first, rather the second question, which was, is drug abuse a good way of coping with mental illness? The answer is no, and I will just use an example. So, I feel bad because I've been left by my girlfriend, and then I decide to go and drink. I drink myself shitty out. Um, then when I wake up or I come back to my senses, will the girlfriend come back to me? Definitely the answer is no. And I don't know what I'll have done in that state of being drunk. I might have abused people. I might have indulged in something that might be harmful to me. And maybe I don't know where it could have led me because I'm not in my right state. That is just one example. The other thing is maybe I'm feeling overwhelmed by my studies, and because of the conversation I've had from my friends that when you take two puffs of marijuana, it's going to make you concentrate. Something I've never done. Then I go try it out. Then all hell break loose, and it doesn't go well with me. Maybe the reaction is different from my fellow friends who are using it. And while it erupts, it takes me to how do you call these places? It takes me to rehab. Yeah, I'll have to use money. Those two examples are just enough to show you that these things, they just cloud you for a moment, making you feel like you have solved the problems or the things that you're going through, but in real sense, you haven't done that. They haven't gone anywhere, they stay with you. And you will end up using money, you will end up using resources, and just making it hard for the people who are also taking care of you. These are for those who are still in learning institutes. Then to your second question about the role of education. Personally, we are in a point whereby the assumption makes us think that majority of the people out here know what mental health is or what mental illness is. I'm a mental health champion myself, and I never realized what I was going through until university life. So you can imagine that. Now, when I got the limelight of what this thing is, I took it as a personal initiative to be incorporating it in everything that I do. Art, I like writing, so I put it in art. While I was teaching, I did put it in my lessons. And these are just small steps to make the advocacy out there and the people be aware of what mental health is, because you are not healthy if your mental is not healthy. So there's no health without mental health. So education plays an important role in that it will be able to reach uh, larger out, or rather it will be able to reach to a lot of people in the school setup, and also something like psychodrama in that you're putting the awareness in forms of dramas and art to ensure that it reaches different people in ways that they really understand and they can appreciate how it's coming to them. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Benson, for that. Before I pass it over to Collins, I wanted to check some messages here. And I think Kasuti has highlighted quite well on the aspect of drug use and substance abuse, because I see there is Francis Owen said that drugs can be positive. Of course, those that are prescription based, they are very positive, and negative if not they are abused. And Amaya says that negative coping mechanism, since it can lead to addiction and dependency, which is very, very right. And Francis also says that in Matter support networks, it can be realized through identifying the affected, the level of effects, and the availability. And I think support networks is more, at YMCA we have psychosocial support groups where once in a while we talk about certain issues which we realize they're affecting a great deal of people. And we have people who have experienced that also share their journey. We have experts on that particular field to also guide them, which I think is what Francis meant. And so from what Kasuti and shared and what others have shared in the chat box, I would love to conclude that drugs, leave alone prescription drugs, the others are negative coping mechanisms because they may lead to addiction, they will tamper your decision making. It might seem as a solution at that particular time, but when you wake up the next moment and when the high may issue, the issues or problems you're facing will still be there waiting for you. And let us not forget that also prescription drugs could be abused, especially when you're not ill, you're still taking them or you're taking higher amounts. It's very, very wrong. And then when you're looking at the role of education, as Benson mentioned also, it's not everyone who is aware of what mental health issues are. And even for us as young people, at times we would want to imagine that we are well, even when we are not well. So learning never ends. It's something we need to keep on educating ourselves about, especially in the health field where things change each and every day. Let us be aware of what these issues are, bearing in mind that there's no one who is immune to mental health issues, including myself or any other person out there. And you say that mental health issues do not choose. It doesn't know the age, it doesn't know the social status, it doesn't know the level of education. It means everyone is vulnerable and prone to that. So let us keep educating ourselves each and every day on matters mental health. Thank you, and I pass it over to Collins.
Thank you so much, Kenya, for sharing with us on the importance of education and the role. I just wanted to add something, but we've gotten really your point on education and what is, and also the issue of drug. I'm a psychology student, and something to do with the drug. Actually, the way Kasuti has just put it is very clear that sometimes you may assume that taking a drug may lead to a solution of which is not the case, especially leave alone the prescribed drugs for us. But taking a drug may sometimes, even today, I happen to engage in a conversation where I was just telling them in psychology we talk of something like stepping into the fear in case you have a problem. Now here you are, you want to run away from the problem by taking a drug, which actually sometimes you harm yourself instead, and or it does not bring the solution. So in psychology you talk of stepping into the fear, where in case there is a problem, go and face the problem, discuss and solve the issue out. Thank you very much, Kenya. And this one takes me to the next question, which I want to pose to the group. what are some of the practical steps that young people can support in mental awareness? Some of the practical steps that as the youths or the young people can always uh, take to help in supporting the mental health issues. I'll just start it over by just sharing this, that sometimes it is good to ask for help. Let us not assume that we cannot ask for help. That is one of my points. So I'll just give a platform to each and any other person who has a point to share with us some of the practical steps that we can use to create awareness on the mental health issues. If you are free, and you can unmute to share with us, or you can engage in the chat box area some of the practical steps that we can use in creating awareness on the mental health issues as the young people, as the people living in this society. What are some of these practical steps? And one of them is accepting or always asking for help, which some of us sometimes. Yes, thank you. Yes, she has just Kenya has also shared with us in the chat box, so you are free or share with us some of the practical steps. Is anyone you can share with us? All right. Point. Okay. I can also share as well. I have a couple of points here with me, or if as you also think of the same, I also share that it is always very important, apart from asking for help, with some of us, it is always there is the community where we come from, especially for men. Sometimes it is always assumed that it is an assumption that we are always very strong and don't need help, which is sometimes we, we come back and you find that some people are suffering depression. And for someone to suffer depression, this is something that you've been hiding so much in you. And for the first stages for one to become depressed, it's always very crucial for us to accept the fact that we need to ask for help. So another point I have is that it is always very quite important to invest in very healthy relationships with others. Let us not assume that these very small things, like even relationship, we have the family, we have our friends. So even if you have a friend, where is this friend of yours taking you? Where is this friend of yours? What what do you discuss? What do you discuss with your friend? It is always very vital to discuss or invest in various very healthy relationship, because actually we always say that I remember yesterday at Kakamega, at Eldoret, I was sharing with a group of young people that actually your friends make you. You can't tell me that my friend, I'm a pastor, my friend smokes cigarettes, my friend drinks alcohol. That's the way he is. So actually they will assume that I also myself, I'm lying that I'm a pastor and my friends are like this. So actually my friends make me. Okay, someone shared something. Okay, let me go get read it over.
Your voice is fluctuating. Maybe naikosa kidogo inarudi.
Okay, Francis also has shared with us. Also, international relationships, they make you and not to break you. Intentional, yes, that is very true. Always have a reason. Actually, that is actually, I think we think in the uh, same line with Francis, that intentional. I also did the same point. Have intentions in relationships, so that you don't just get involved in a relationship and then you end up losing more. Even you lose even yourself. So be very intentional even in relationship. Helen has shared with us that having support groups, campaigns on mental health whenever you can. That is very true. Have support groups, campaigns on mental health whenever you can, if you are capable of even yourself. I always sometimes I share with my mentees that you are the CEO of your life. You can even yourself decide that, let me just talk to people, the young people, about the mental health issues, and this person will be touched. Si kila mtu anaweza bambika, but there's one person you can decide that whatever you shared with him is very healthy. uh, how can we handle suicidal thoughts, guys? There's a question posted: how can we handle suicidal thoughts? If you have a point on that, you can also share with us that how can we handle suicidal thoughts. And before, you can just share with us, you can unmute and share with us, or you can just share with us in the chat box. Kenya ask how can we handle suicidal thoughts. Sometimes you find that one sometimes you've lost hope, which sometimes becomes, or you become depressed until you don't see the essence of life, you don't see the essence of living again. So how or which best idea do you have on how we can handle such an incident where one has lost it? Thank you very much, Francis. Again, Francis has shared with us something here. Before I hand it over to Kenya to take us to the next point, let me read this. Be intentional about your day, how to approach it, and also allow the thought that the day can be a good day, but a demon can show up, and how to react to them. This is very key. This is, I believe, we have someone you serve. We have that supreme being, for Christians. I know we have Christians, even the Muslims. You have the Allah you serve. It is always good to ask. This is okay. This is very awesome. It is always good to ask for wisdom, and always just plan your day. Just plan it. Sometimes you even wake up in the morning. I don't know if you pray or the way you worship that supreme being you believe. It's always good to have an intention, or have to even to approach that very day, that very morning that you wake up. That is very true. So at least we have very many points. We have very many points, but to take it, we let us be very intentional with us, with our friends, with our relationships, with, let us always be us. And this is very practical. It's a practical step that just self-realization is one of the most important thing that we should be having. And I think that one summarizes, just realize that, know yourself better. After knowing yourself, you'll be very intentional with any action that you'll be taking. Thank you very much for listening, and let me hand it over to Kenya to take us to the next point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Collins, for sharing that. I think it's not about being practical and making practical, intentional steps. And we've learned about also grounding ourselves, maybe with the support systems. And there was a question that was asked by Moses, where he was asking, how do we handle suicidal thoughts? In case you have tips around the same, kindly share so that we can assist one of us. And as we're coming to a closure of our conversation, I would request, if you have other questions, please write them down in the chat box so that we respond to them in the next 10 minutes. But before we wind up, I would like us to discuss one last thing, where we are looking at, because we've looked at the role of education, we've looked at our role ourselves. But then again, now that you've known what our roles are, what tools can we use to, create awareness? What tools are we supposed to use? Because we've learned about our role, we've learned about the role of education. We've also seen the practical steps that we can use. In the last conversation, we're actually looking at statistic and data. It shows that peer-to-peer mental health advocacy and mentorship, it's very, very effective when it comes to creating awareness. But then, now that we are advocating, we face challenges once in a while. whereby we really wanted to pass out a message as young people and we're not able to. So what tools can we use? Or maybe if there are obstacles, how can we overcome them? As we also respond to Moses' question, and suppose you also have any other question, kindly feel invited to type in the chat box and we respond to the same. Maybe I'll invite, there's someone who hasn't spoken. We have Eddie who is quiet, very quiet. Maybe Eddie, you can share if you're comfortable. And now I'll invite Sharon to share with us if she's in a position to unmute. Hi Sharon, are you able to unmute? As we wait for her, maybe we can hear from Kasuti. What tools do you use for advocacy? I'm asking, what tools do we use to create awareness about mental health issues?
Number one, we can use our social media pages. So this involves the thing that we post, retweets, engaging in a mental health talk so that it can increase the number of viewership. Also, something simple like peer education, whereby when you're in circle of friends talking about different topics, you can suggest to talk something about mental health. To have them be in the gist, and also offering things like these webinars. So these webinars are great because in this we will have diverse people, and it's great because it's also online. And the one that I like most is the use of psychodrama. So ideally, psychodrama means you're acting, but in the acting, there is something you're talking about in relation to mental health. So yeah, it will reach the wider range of audience.
Very true, very right. Thank you so much. One of the things that we as young people, we are quite active on is social media. So it's important for us to use that as a tool. And then also peer-to-peer, where I keep on insisting that the way your friend can easily open up to you and talk about something is very much different on how they get to talk about things with someone else who is older. Maybe because they're not comfortable, maybe because they feel that they are not understood. So I really hope that you're not the type of people whom if a friend talks to you about an issue, unashangaa haya hata wewe, ama unamwambia tu nasikia kujiua, unamwambia nikuletee kamba. So it's important that we value these conversations. We learn to be there for one another because there is nothing for us without us. So there is no mental health or no mental being if we ourselves are not being the pioneers or maybe the advocating team for the same. And then lastly, it's just a conversation on mental health. Let people chip in. And we learned that at times we may not be knowing that we have these issues because maybe we are not aware or we are in denial. So it's important that we take an active role or we participate fully on the same. And in regards to the suicidal aspect, I've seen Francis has responded. Why mention one of the things is seeking professional help, which is quite right. And then having a support network, developing coping mechanisms like mindfulness and meditation, journaling about your thoughts, identifying a safety plan for your triggers, and also having emergency services, as well as having hobbies that you can do and they can assist you. One of the things I wanted to add from everything Francis has shared is the aspect of identifying your triggers. At times we may be suicidal, but we do not know what is it that makes you suicidal. So you find that at times there are these thoughts, you don't know where they come from. But when you're quite aware na unajijua vizuri, you'll be able to tell, this is what makes me think of killing myself, or this is what makes me feel hopeless. It's important to identify that trigger. And then if you notice that you're not able to work around it alone, kindly seek for assistance. And of course, also have emergency numbers. We have several organizations which have hotlines and they offer these services even 24/7. So arm yourself with knowledge, with information about the same. And then, of course, have a supportive network, as we said. And Ellen also does give out something on communication, where she's mentioning the aspects of assertive communication. And not only saying, I also say that usiongeleshe mtu kama unamwongelesha because you expected to. Umuulize how are you because you expected to ask that. Ask them how they are if you're really willing to know, you care, and you're willing to be there for them. Because someone can start telling you how their day was, sasa unapata umeboeka tu bure, just because you're asking it for formalities. So on mental health issues, be intentional, learn to be there for one another and to support each other. And I hope, Chebet, you've learned 1, 2, 1, 2 on mental health issues. So if there's any question, guys, feel free to unmute and hear your question. And also, if you're not able to unmute, we can use the chat box. And as I give it to Collins, we'll later hand it over to Tito to wind up for us. What I can say is that as young people, we have an active role in mental health advocacy. Let us not wait for institutions or organizations to champion this, but we can start with what we have hapo kwa ground, hapo kwa grassroots. You can try start these conversations, and I'm quite sure they impact others. And as usual, what you've learned here, there's someone else who doesn't know about it. So share. Knowledge is the only thing that will multiply if shared, because you teach so and so who teaches someone else in turn. So let's keep on spreading the gospel, and thank you for joining us. I'll pass it over to Collins. We'll later hand it over to Tito.
Thank you very much, Kenya, for sharing such wise words to us. And I hope someone who just logged in, who joined us, as you've not left the same way you came, at least. That was very awesome, joining us. Before I just give my final remarks before handing it to Tito, uh, uh, before handing it back to Tito, I want to just make some final remarks on us. I like the fact that I'm a psychology student, and it has taught me a lot personally in my growth and all that. Let us learn and accept ourselves. First, let us learn and accept ourselves before, because after accepting yourself, you can really know why you exist, know your purpose, know what you want to know, have like actually having the intention or being intentional on whatever you want in this life, and especially on the mental health issue, because whatever anything that comes about the decision that you make, the everything that makes you, it always starts from your mind. And one thing is self acceptance. Let's accept that you are you and no one can be better than you. And after knowing that, you'll be very intentional with the friends you have, the relationships you make, even your well being. You will be very intentional even with your well being. You cannot be gullible, by the way, if you know what you are intentional about. Gullible like mse amesema leo ni sherehe manze tunaenda, just realize these things sometimes they come to affect our mental state. So let us be very intentional. Let us take care of our minds, because it is only you can take care of your mind, and that mind controls everything in you, be it your movement. Even before a day starts, you'll see, today I'll be going to this place. You'll think, today I'll be moving to this person, I'll be interacting with these people. Just be intentional and accept that the fact that you cannot, no one can be better than you. It is very important that we accept the way that we are, and it is very good to invest in us and have very to hand it back to Tito, and it was nice having interaction with you and sharing with you. Thank you all. Have a blessed night. Back to you, Tito, if you can hear me.
Thank you so much, Collins and Kina. Maybe you can give a round of applause for them. You can use a chat box. We are learning this every day. So if you know where you can put your round of applause on the chat box. Thank you. You can see 1, 2. Yeah, thank you so much for this conversation. I think it's a learning session. It's a learning session for each one of us each and every day. And as you mentioned, let's be intentional about our mental health. There's nobody who will come and actually help you in one way or another, but you can always seek help whenever you need one. So we are having this conversation each and every Monday, different topics on different mental health and TBB programs. And I want to really thank Kenya, who is now our head of Y Mental Club, just to bring on board some of these issues, some of these topics that are affecting young people. And we hope that each one of us will get to learn something at the end of the day. So if you want, maybe Kenya, you can also share your contacts for anybody who want to share 1 or 2 things about their mental health or what they can also share to a group, or if they want to be also part of the panel, you can also reach out to us. And this session was recorded and we shall be sharing them on our YouTube channels. So this reminds me, let's also follow our social media platform at YMCA Central Branch, everywhere, at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X platform. So you can follow us for this and much more, and also our activities that we are always having each and every day. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. I hope to see you again next week. Have a blessed night.
Have a good night.